Hello, my name is Dean Contover. Welcome to Current Buzz. Today we have Bob Russo. He's the executive director of the New England Golden Gloves. So we're going to be talking about boxing and how somebody in Chelmsford who may want to learn how to box or go to a gym and fight in the Golden Gloves. You have that opening, right? I mean, in regards to...
you know, the tournament started.
Yeah, right.
So, but, you know, there's a number of gyms in the area, the West End Gym, of course.
Okay.
There's a PAL gym that just opened up. I think there's 2 or 3 gyms in Lawrence and Haverhill. Mm-hmm. So there's quite a few right in the Nashua. You know, so there's quite a few in the area. Mm-hmm.
It's the 76th season of the Golden Gloves in Lowell, Massachusetts.
Correct.
And it's the 100th season of the Golden Gloves nationally.
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's just talk about how you get in, weight classes, because people who are watching don't know that, you know, there's certain weight classes that you have to be in, and what a novice and what does open mean in regards to Golden Gloves. Because it's amateur boxing. I just want to let you know that. And amateur means you don't get paid for it. It's a sport.
Right, and it's highly regulated. You know, boxing, the amateur part of the sport, is, believe it or not, the last I looked, it was on, I think it was 26th down on the list of sports injuries.
Huh.
You know, so, I mean, just joking, but badminton is probably, you know, more dangerous than what we do.
Or pickleball.
Yeah, and so it's the way that it's conducted, you know, restrictive as in the weight divisions, age, experience.
Okay. And
then the referees are very conscious of anyone getting, you know, hurt. So it's safe in that regard, believe it or not.
Okay.
Again, you mentioned the novice and the open class. The open class, you must have at least 10 fights to be in the open class.
I see. 10 amateur fights.
Yep, and then under that is the novice class.
Okay. Novice is the first fight that you had in your life.
Your first, you know, 10 fights. So you're not getting overmatched in that regard. The weight divisions, there's 10 weight divisions in the men and 10 in the women.
Okay.
So in the Olympics this year, we're an Olympic trial.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Does that bring in more people to the Golden Gloves in Lowell? Because you're Olympic
it does. I think it raises
qualifier.
The level. I think it raises the level of you know, just attraction, really. And then, of course, it also raises the level of participation because people want to try to get to the Olympic trials. So, you know, the very first night of the Golden Gloves here, when you step in the ring and all over the country, there's about 80 tournaments that will go on to pare it down to the national championships. And
80, huh?
Yeah, all over the country.
Right, right.
And so it's a busy time for me because I'm the president of the Gloves National. And so the phone's ringing. Matter of fact, I should shut my phone off because it'll probably be ringing.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. But it's you know, it's a high-end thing, and of course, all of the tournaments being a Olympic trial thing is very important and brings a lot of notoriety to the sport.
Yeah, let me ask you this question in regards to, you said there were 80, and then there's a national, and there's some city picked as the nationals. I think Lowell, Massachusetts had nationals 25 years ago.
1995.
1995. I did go to them, and it was interesting because he had 3 rings in the center, and there was boxing all the time, consistently. Is there any possibility that Lowell, Massachusetts may get the nationals again?
It's possible, yeah, because actually Kevin Coughlin, who is the president of the Lowell Sun Charities, and you know, once again, all of the proceeds go to charities, which is
that's good
another
to know.
positive. So this is a youth program that helps at-risk kids, a lot of at-risk kids that we deal with, puts them on the right track in life and a good healthy lifestyle against drugs and alcohol and so on. And, you know, a lot of the kids don't have fathers, and this is a good mentor position for the coaches. But also, all the money goes to charities. And then this year, in the past couple of years, actually, we've partnered up with the Sprinkler Fitters Union 669, which is a national union. Okay. And they like our demographics, for career training.
Huh.
So, our demographics, a lot of the kids don't go to college, and, this is one of those type opportunities that you sign up for the apprentice program. That day, you start earning money and learning, so you're not getting the college debt, and it's a good career path and we, as you know, that we need a lot of the trades back. A lot of trades are hurting for workers.
No doubt about that. The thing that I want to ask you, I think I read in the paper, it's not kids that, social economic group, low social economic group. There's a teacher fighting, right?
Yeah,
And
there was actually a couple of them.
Okay, yeah, a couple of teachers and some high school kids from the suburbs, so to speak, instead of, hardcore Lowell. So there's a mixture of students.
Yeah, it sure is. It's all over the place. I mean, our demographics are all over the place. You have to be 18 to be in the senior division, so to speak. But
is that the novice or is that the
novice
open?
and open. Yeah.
Oh, okay, 18.
And,
okay.
Or elite, and so the age is 18 to 40. Now it used to be 35. But as you know, it's a different age now where people are in better shape.
Yeah, males and females. Yep. So tell me about women's boxing, because when I used to go to the Golden Gloves, they didn't have women's boxing. When did that come into effect, women boxing?
It's been around now for, 20-something years. Yeah. And I actually have, I have a gym in Portland, Maine, and I had two girls that won nationals. One of them won 5 times. Okay. And the other one won 3 times. And they're almost a perfect example of what amateur boxing and the people that we deal with. The Lisa, who was a 5-time national champion, she was a college kid, is an environmental scientist.
Oh, wow.
The other one is the opposite, 180 degrees to the opposite. She was on the street at 13 years old, homeless on the street.
Wow.
She somehow hooked up with a guy that used to come to the club. She started to come. We put her through school. She became a hairdresser and stuff. We taught her how to do that. And she won the nationals 3 times.
Wow. What class?
What
class? Lightweight, okay.
Yeah. And, many issues to deal with after being on the street all those years with drugs, alcohol, abuse, and so on. But, basically boxing saved her life, So, those are the great stories. It's not just boxing. It's about what it does for the kids and gets them on the right track.
Right. Yeah, okay. So let's say I go into the novice class. I box lightweight, okay? I don't think I'm a lightweight, but a middleweight probably. And I'm a middleweight boxer. I go, I win my tournament, I did my division, I'm sorry. I go, and then what happens after that? Do you have a finals? And
Yeah, so right now, what we're doing, the first 5 events in Lowell will be for the Central New England Championship, which is Greater Boston, Lowell, Lawrence, all the way
Fall River,
South Boston, and so
Connecticut too?
Excuse me?
Connecticut also?
Well, this is the Central region.
Okay, Central region.
So we have 4 regions.
Oh, okay.
So this is Central.
Oh, I see.
My people are in the northern region, which is Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, in Portland.
Okay, got it.
And then we have Springfield, Mass., which is western New England, and also southern Mass., which is in Fall River, which has Rhode Island. Western has Connecticut, and so on.
Oh, okay. So I finish a novice. I go. There's finals here, right? I presume, right? Semifinals and finals.
Yes.
Then I would go into once I win in the finals, then I would go to nationals.
No. So if you're a novice, it ends at New England. It ends
Oh,
at the
okay.
regions. So the 4 regions will meet in Lowell for the Open and Novice Championships. And the four champions fight each other, and then there's one.
Right.
In the Open class, they move on to the National Championship, which is this year right outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. And that varies from community to community, right? I mean, going to having the national in your city like Minneapolis or
Yeah, sure.
or
Like you
Salt Lake
mentioned
City.
before, and I think I stepped over, the question was, will Lowell get the Nationals again? It's possible. Right now, this year we're in Philly.
Okay.
Next year we're in Detroit.
Okay.
And then after that, I know there's bids coming in from Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin.
Wow. So what happens in a bid? What do they do? What do they say to you that your board, your executive board, I presume, picks the?
What happens is they put a bid in,
Okay.
and it's a sealed bid.
Okay.
And then we, at the national, wherever, we have 2 national meetings, in person a year. At the Nationals, wherever the championships are.
All right.
And then wherever it's going to be the next year as a mid-year meeting. And that's where we get a chance to vote on the bids.
Okay.
So all the delegates, there's 30 delegates in the country, and they all vote.
Okay. So let's say I'm from Lowell. What kind of bid would I have to put in? I have to show you the venue. We could use the Songus Arena, probably.
Yeah, well,
probably
you could
South
use
Center.
you could use the auditorium.
You could still use the auditorium,
Yeah.
but there's better parking, I think, in the
Yeah.
in the Songus
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
forth.
But you just lay out your business plan and what you're going to do, how much money you want to bid to that goes to the national office.
Okay.
And hotels, activities, food options, the whole thing.
So what are the activities do we need to present?
A lot of them do, like, what are you doing for the coaches and the boxers or the delegates that come? I mean, they have tours and.
Oh yeah, so we take them down to Concord and Lexington and take them a
Yeah.
bus tour there or something like
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
which is cool.
Yeah. I mean, we're there. I'm as one of the officers in the Nationals, I'm there for, about 11 days. And but most of the delegates and the teams come in. They're there for a solid week.
Okay, so Lowell has to go before the board. Is that it?
Yeah.
And present their case.
Yes.
Or why it should be
Yeah.
here. Okay.
And then the delegates will vote on it.
So what time of year are we talking about? Is this?
Historically, it's May.
It's May. Okay.
but-
Not bad.
Yeah.
Before vacation.
Yeah, but the past couple of years, because of the pandemic, actually the first year that I was president was the only year that we never had a Nationals in almost 100 years because of the pandemic. So what we did is, because of the pandemic and all these tournaments going on throughout the country, we had to give them more time because of all the state regulations. You couldn't do this and you couldn't do that. So we pushed it out until August. So we missed 1 year, and then the following year we came back to August. So we just did it in August. This year it'll be May.
There's 3 rings going at the same time, simultaneously, right? How many days are we talking about?
They 6 days.
6 days of boxing.
Competition, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, and I think Songus Center has 6,000 seats. Not bad. I mean, you don't have to have everybody on the floor.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
I actually had a boxer in the last one in Lowell, the light heavyweight that went the furthest actually, and it was the place. Everyone's still, the delegates from all over, still talking about that championship there in Lowell because it was so well attended. It was so exciting, and that building is awesome because of that balcony.
Yeah.
If you're on top of the action, it just changes.
Yeah, I know. The looking down on the balcony,
It
you
does.
could really see that.
So that's a great venue.
Yeah, it is a great venue. I remember when people used to smoke in that venue,
Yeah.
and there was boxing, and you would see the cloud of smoke. That was a long time ago, but I'm glad they got rid of that.
Yeah.
So you were up in Lewiston, Maine, when Muhammad Ali fought Liston.
Yeah.
One of just 2,000 people. How did that come about? Because I saw him train at the arena in Boston when they were going to have the initial fight in Boston. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I did see, and I remember this. He would say, "Fly like a butterfly and sting like a bee."
Yeah, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yes, float like a butterfly.
Yeah.
And I never forgot that. I mean, he was an interesting person. Seeing him alive, he was entertainment, really.
Yeah, he sure was.
And I was a young boy at the time, like yourself, And then they decided to fight in Lewiston, Maine. And
Yeah,
what
well,
happened there?
So he had he was all scheduled for Boston, and then of course the whole draft thing started to come up, and but it was all ready to go in Boston at the Boston Garden, and he had I believe an appendicitis or something like that, so the fight had to be canceled. So by the time they rescheduled it, Boston didn't want it anymore because of the groundswell of opposition towards him.
Right.
So actually, my uncle was the boxing commissioner in Maine, and it came, on his desk, and he said, "Let's do it." So he did it. And
At an ice rink, actually, right?
it was, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, it was actually they promoted that and did that fight in 3 weeks' notice.
Wow.
So it was very short. It's a small town up there in
Yeah.
Houston. And there was about 2,500 people in there, it probably didn't hold a hell of a lot more than that.
In those days, the rinks were small.
Yeah.
The ice rinks, yeah.
And so, the fight was obviously a huge disappointment because it ended in the first round. Controversial, but, as I've said many times, is that if Ali fought Liston 100 times, he would have beat him 100 times. I mean, it was a mismatch in the sense of young versus old, speed versus slow.
Yep.
The whole thing. I mean, he would never beat Ali. He was just too good for him at the time. So, as far as they say a fixed fight and so on, I think it's fixed when the wrong guy wins.
Yeah, well, you would know these things,
Yeah.
put somebody in a different weight class and so forth, and
Right,
that's
sure.
a mistake or something
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I
too.
was like 8 years old at the time, and because we got free tickets, so all the Russo family got a
Yeah, well, why
got a
not?
ticket.
I mean, you have to fill it up, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
5th row.
was it really, really packed? I mean,
It was a good crowd.
Good
Because
crowd.
it wasn't a real big building anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was the first closed circuit that they ever ran.
Oh,
Yeah, May 25th, 1965.
okay. First closed circuit, I got it. Yeah, and after that, they went on closed circuit
Yeah, and then there was
TV,
a
and that's
closed
how they
circuit
made
for
their money.
for the big fights,
Yeah.
and then obviously now pay-per-view.
What was the best boxer you've seen?
Well, I mean, of course.
Besides Mickey Ward, because you have to be diplomatic.
Well, Mickey is
Yeah.
awesome, of course.
Yeah,
So he's
yeah.
a great warrior. I'd have to say my favorite fighter was Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, he was just an amazing athlete, the heart of a lion, great puncher, accurate, and this phenomenal speed.
Right.
Very charismatic. And
I saw his fight in Montreal, and with Duran of Panama.
Yeah.
And that was a great fight. I mean, they were
was.
going at it.
Yeah, 15
And
rounds then.
We had tickets and we moved up. I mean, it wasn't that crowded, so to say.
It was a
but
big arena, actually.
yeah, it was a big arena, so we were able to move up, and that was our goal, to buy. You know how you buy
Yeah.
tickets, cheap tickets, and you move up because you fill the spaces. And it was a very good fight. I have the program somewhere at the house, but I love boxing, but it's. I remember when I was a kid, I used to get boxing magazines. I used to know who the top 10 heavyweights were.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of not there anymore. Is
That's
it?
true. That's true. In the same thing. I used to, unbeknown to my parents, but I would thumb in town. I was like 10 years old, which I shouldn't have been in town, and I would go in town and buy a Ring magazine. I was waiting for it to come out, and I read it cover to cover 15 times, and I could tell you, same like you, I could tell you who the top 10 contenders in each division
Yeah,
were.
I know. Wasn't it in the centerfold like?
Yeah, it
It
was.
was, yeah, and you could pull it out if you had it. And everybody in my neighborhood knew who the top 10 were. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, but now, again, with all the split titles, and, that's the Don King thing. He started to split the titles, and it just became harder to follow.
well, how many titles are there? How many now?
Sanctioning bodies,
Sanctioning bodies, 3?
There's like 5,
This, so you have to fight for 5
That's why,
sanctioned bodies.
that's why it's a rarity
Yeah.
when there's an undisputed champion.
I know.
So, like in the heavyweight division, the last one was Buster Douglas. He was an undisputed heavyweight champion.
And are we going to break some news here on this show in regards to Buster
We can,
Douglas?
yeah. So, we had Mike Tyson at the
Right, last year.
last year, which was, we put the tickets on sale. We were immediately sold out.
No kidding.
We added standing room. Those sold out in minutes.
Wow.
So the place was basically oversold. It was really quite a night, and people just said, Bob, I don't know how you're going to top that. And it came to my head, and I said, the best way to top it is the guy that beat him. So we're going to get Buster Douglas here for the final. The last
This year?
This year, the last undisputed heavyweight champion.
Am I going to be invited? I mean,
Absolutely.
Okay, definitely. Buster Douglas, boy, that was an interesting fight.
Great fighter, Buster Douglas.
Yeah, he was. I remember that. I'm just trying to recall. Was it overseas that he fought?
It was in Japan.
In Japan, that's right.
Yeah.
And everybody was shocked that he won. That
He
he
was
beat.
a 40-1 underdog.
Yeah, that he
40.
beat Liston at that, right?
Tyson.
Tyson, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a 40-1.
Yeah.
Tyson was basically he was just knocking everybody out in 1 round, 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Just brutal. Great fighter. But Buster, because I've had him in Portland at my
I see.
and talking to him and doing press conferences and stuff with him, people said, what was it like when you got the call? You must have been surprised. He goes, I wasn't surprised. He goes, I was the #1 contender. I deserved the shot. And he goes, also, I always knew that I could beat him, always wanted to fight him.
No kidding.
Because he said, I was a way better boxer technician. And he goes, I was bigger, and I could control him on the inside. And that's really what he did. He completely outboxed him.
No doubt about it. I mean, we were watching. We couldn't believe our eyes.
And right
when
from the
won.
beginning,
yeah.
right from round 1,
Yeah.
he took it to him.
He sort of gave up.
He
I
did.
mean,
It was a real shellacking.
I think it was one of the best fights I ever saw. In regards to, like you said, he was 40-1.
Yeah, I mean, it was just amazing. We used to have people over to watch the pay fights and stuff, and people were losing interest because he was knocking everybody out so quick. So I was there alone with my wife and watching the fight, and I at the first round I said, Jesus, he came the fight. Everyone else was scared to death. Mm-hmm. He came the fight, and he proved it. And
no doubt about it. Let's really quick. I have 2 minutes, and guys, what's MMA doing to your fan base?
Well, I think that it has. They have captured. Basically, you have to be in front of fans, because there's new generation of fans.
Right.
And a lot of the boxing fans are a little bit older, in some cases, and depends where you are. It's all about having local kids, that people get around and follow.
Yeah, it's always that way, boxing.
Yeah, it is. There's no question about
Right.
it. There's a real attraction to the local kids that people connect with. But the MMA basically went on TV when boxing went off TV, and I believe they captured a generation of young fans. But there's a lot of crossover people. Actually, I did an event in Portland in November, and at the same night, they did an MMA event in Portland at another arena, and we crushed them.
No kidding.
Yeah, we had about 3,300 fans.
Are you advertising or anything like that on radio or something like that with the union?
For the Golden Gloves?
Yeah, the Golden Gloves.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which one?
We are saturating New England.
Oh, you
because the sprinkler fitters union are paying for all that.
Oh, wow, good.
Yeah.
That's
so there's
good.
a lot of publicity on it.
Oh, good. That's good to hear, definitely. I just want to thank you for coming. I mean, it was an insight. I'm glad that we broke the story on Buster Douglas coming to the fights and everything. That should be very interesting. Where does he live now?
Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, Columbus. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's easy.
I talked to him on the phone. I call him and stuff. And what are you doing, Buster? And he's like, I'm in the gym. And I said, you're in the gym? Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. Maybe you can give us some.